Rishi Sunak has made Rwanda his own living hell. He has made this his own political cage. He just keeps going on and on and on about it. When he set his sort of 5-point plan, he didn't say reduce the small boats. He said stop the small boats, which is completely ridiculous. And somebody said to me the other day, oh no, it's really hard for him because he's inherited this. He's got to honour it. There's loads of things he inherited, like levelling up was a thing that's kind of, died a death now. A promise on social care has gone nowhere. HS2, he was very pleased to roll back from. Changing the timetable on net zero, he was very proud to roll back from. It just seems utterly insane that he's decided to plough on with this Rwanda idea.
I don't want you to rubbish the item we're about to have a discussion on, but does 30 abstentions on the Rwanda bill fire you up or not?
Boring. No, not really. I can be interested in this if you want me to be. The thing that is fascinating about this is that, unlike the end of the world, the thing they are debating is utterly batshit. A political term I know we are now allowed to use. The last couple of utterly batshit. I just think it's the fact they've chosen it. I just cannot believe, as climate change, which we know is going to be one of the main drivers for immigration in the future. And they have the Samoans, and I've been very upset about it. And Bangladesh is trying to be nice, but all the low-lying countries, who they are all going to leave in their hundreds of millions over the next 50 years. They're going to need to go somewhere. It's going to be an absolute catastrophe, which as humans we deal with by not thinking about it and pretending it won't happen and hoping we'll be dead. And then they say, we'll fly them to Rwanda. You put them on an aeroplane, the thing you're supposed to not be doing because of the climate, but really, it's so few so few people are going to go to Rwanda. And the idea that it'll trickle down. And I heard this guy you just had on saying, the guy you just played the recording, saying, we are Team Tory and we're all behind this utterly batshit thing at various different levels. I think it's the fact that it's Rwanda. When we're discussing what we all cared so deeply about Gaza and Hamas like 6 weeks ago and have basically completely forgotten, that when Israel was originally mooted by Theodore Herzl, the journalist and Zionist in the 1880s, literally Uganda, why don't we Jews all go to Uganda? It never even occurred to him that it'd go to Israel. What that far too much. Let's go to Uganda, and that ended up being adopted faintly in the early days by the Nazis. Let's send the Jews to Uganda. And they talked a little bit about Madagascar. And you look back, and I remember looking at that when sort of learning about Zionism in Israel in the 90s and the 2000s, going laughing. And I think we're going to send them to Uganda in the jungle with monkeys. And now actually the Tories are doing that to Rwanda. And they've chosen this place. Where there's everyone throws genocide about. And then apart from Srebrenica, Rwanda's the only place there's actually been an actual genocide really recently. And there's just choose a different country. Just choose, with the apologies to our guests, Scotland or any. I don't know, any. Just not Rwanda. It's so batshit.
Well, Rwanda actually volunteered for it. I think we'll have to stop saying that now.
Yes.
You've given it a good run there, Giles. Ayesha, if you could answer this question without saying that word, we'd be all deeply grateful to you. To sort of try and understand this, has this got away from them? Giles' point that why are we talking so much about Rwanda? It's become so dominant. Do you think this was a policy proposed 2 Home Secretaries ago? Has it got away from Rishi Sunak and become totemic in a way that if he had his time again, he probably wouldn't want it to be?
Oh, completely. I mean, the whole thing, and I have to say, I very much agree with Giles's word of the morning. Totally. I mean, look, this is something that he's inherited. I find the whole thing so extraordinary. So every prime minister has a crisis that they inherit and they get stuck with it and they have to deal with it. For Theresa May, it was Brexit. Rishi Sunak has made Rwanda his own living hell. He has made this his own political cage. He just keeps going on and on and on about it. When he set his sort of 5-point plan, he didn't say reduce the small boats. He said stop the small boats, which is completely ridiculous. And somebody said to me the other day, oh no, it's really hard for him because he's inherited this. He's got to honour it. There's loads of things he inherited, like levelling up was a thing that's kind of, died a death now. A promise on social care has gone nowhere. HS2, he was very pleased to roll back from. Changing the timetable on net zero, he was very proud to roll back from. it just seems utterly insane that he's decided to plow on with this Rwanda idea, which was Priti Patel came up with this idea years and years ago. This is Priti Patel, who at one point had an idea for a giant wave machine in the channel. I mean, that was the level of kind of nonsense we were sort of talking about. So it is completely mad. I mean, I liken it to, there was that film a while ago about a festival that went really badly wrong, the Fire Festival, where everything was completely going wrong and everybody could see that everything was going wrong, but they just decided to plow on. This feels like a sort of malevolent political version of the Fire Festival.
But Aisha, you're right about, you know, the points, that the policies that he perhaps was able and felt able to roll back on, HS2, for example. But isn't it the case that the many 105, or maybe it's just 5 various factions that there are within the Conservative Party, that this is the issue that for some reason they will not budge on, and that's why he can't roll back on it?
No, he has allowed these families to sort of spring up because he's not got a grip on it. You know, he is the one that keeps sort of trying to appease them. He's the one that keeps pandering to them. The big mistake he made was on the day he became leader of the party. You will never be stronger than on the day you become leader. And what did he do? He brought back Suella Braverman, who'd been sacked 7 days ago. He brought her back. She was always going to be a very, very difficult force for him to deal with. And he should have junked this ridiculous Rwanda plan. The Home Secretary, James Cleverly, was using the language, of course, that Giles was about this scheme. It is rumoured that when this scheme was first floating around and Rishi Sunak was not involved in it, even he himself thought it was, you know, completely insane. I mean, this is a real example of, I think, political naivety. At the end of the day, look, I'm not saying that immigration is not an issue for people, but when it comes to the election, it's the Reagan question that still determines most elections. How do you feel? Do you feel better off now than you did? The cost of living crisis is going to be the absolute determining factor at the next general election. Things like broken Britain. Can you get to see your doctor? Can you get on a train? You know, can you get your passport? Can you see a dentist? All of these things.
Yeah,
I mean, immigration, I think, will come in the top 5. But he has sort of made this his defining issue, which just seems utterly, utterly bonkers.